Hey everybody, it's Kyle, your host of the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. This podcast today is one we recorded for a rainy day, and since it's currently raining in Steamboat, it seems appropriate. This is me, Andrhey, and Miles talking about Star Wars right after the last Star Wars movie came out. We also go into some other nerdy things, a lot of Game of Thrones. We have a lot of fun. You're going to like it. Also, just want to say real quick for those listening this week, we got a couple big shows coming up. Don't forget to check us out at the Whiskey Company, Steamboat Whiskey Company, this Thursday for a free storytelling show, and then Friday for a night of stand-up comedy at Schmiggity's. Both of those events will feature our buddy Corey David from Denver and a couple of his friends. We're really excited. So please come check us out. And without any further delay, let's nerd out.
I want to walk out to Dr. Evil's theme song and you're like, da-na-na, da-na-na. And they were like, that whole conversation would be dope, what you just did.
Well, no, I didn't get all of it, but...
Well, I mean, I don't know. We're here. I do want to walk out to Dr. Evil's music. That'd be...
As you should.
Are
you screwing that into the table?
I don't know, man.
What are you doing?
I don't know, dude. I'm sober. It's a problem.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Andre's sober.
Do you want to just use this mic?
I mean, no, I got it. We're good.
All right, you got it.
We're good.
Welcome to the Steamboat Comedy Podcast, everybody.
What up?
Kyle Ruff. With me is the Styles Sanchez, a.k.a. Miles Sanchez.
A.k.a. the burger prince that was promised. A.k.a. firm handshake. A.k.a. dog's best friend. A.k.a. the cat's meow. A.k.a. Andre's friend.
Whoa. We're acquaintances at best.
Andre's like, whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. I don't know you. Whoa.
I don't know you.
Speaking of which, we also have Andrey Martinez.
Hello.
Andre dos stacks.
Hello.
Dos stacks.
The dos.
6 pesos.
The dos estacas.
So we're gonna nerd out today.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited.
I'm pretty stoked. So we're
We're
gonna talk Star Wars right now.
Fuck yes.
This is which, if you listened before to our Christmas episode, we talked briefly about the Star Wars Christmas disaster. If you haven't seen this, you guys, go on YouTube because
I think the one I've seen a lot of Star Wars stuff, a lot, and that's where you do trump me. Is I've never seen the Christmas episode.
Oh, bud. So
You don't.
I'm just gonna say for those who didn't listen, I'm just gonna give a brief thing. So right after the first Star Wars came out, they decided to do a live Christmas special on TV. It was like a live action Christmas sketch thing. And it was one of the most embarrassingly terrible productions in the history of television.
You know who wrote, directed, who got away with doing it?
George Lucas.
I think it was a George Lucas thing.
Yeah, George Lucas did it.
And he tried really hard. I don't know that for sure, but I know that he tried really hard to bury it. Like, you couldn't find it anywhere for about 30 years until YouTube came along, and they were like, guess what, bitch? You can't hide this shit anymore. And so we watched it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it even with the commercials.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Don't
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
Oh, with
Don't do it.
commercials?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you get 80s, 90s commercial bullshit.
Oh, no, it's not. It's like 70s. And we watched this on Christmas here. We had friends over. Because, we all live in Steamboat. We all work through the holidays, so we don't get to go home with our families for Christmas. So we hang out for Christmas with our friends, and we watch the Star Wars Christmas special on Christmas Day, which is actually one of the last podcasts we haven't heard that, and that's when we talk about it briefly, but it's fucking unreal how ridiculous the Star Wars Christmas special is. It's to give you a little preview, and I don't want to talk too much about it, because I want you to go see it, but there's points where it's all Wookiees, and they're talking to each other in Wookiee with no subtitles for
that's called
30
Kashyyyk.
minutes at a time.
It's
For Kashyyyk, yes.
Yeah, Kashyyyk, yeah.
It's Chewbacca's
It's called
family.
bullshit, Miles.
It's called made up nonsense.
Yeah, I speak it. What up? You want to go there? Yeah.
Yeah, I speak it after
Oh,
I'm brushing
boy.
my fucking teeth. That's what I
Yeah.
I actually watched. So like, I watched it on YouTube when it came out because people keep telling me like, "Oh, watch it, like you'll love it." And then I watched it, and then like the recommended YouTube videos, like after ISIS videos were recommended after I saw that.
I was
shit.
like, how to kill yourself.
It was fucking terrible.
Oh, dude.
It was fucking terrible.
So yeah, that was obviously a disaster. Speaking of disasters, obviously the Last Jedi just came out not too long ago. So this is going to be partially a recap of this last whole series and just kind of our feelings on the state of Star Wars in general. Because we're all big fans. I've been a giant fan my entire life. And so is Andrhey and so is Miles. And like we've all talked about, we watched like some of the different side series, played some of the video games, other things like that. So real quick, just as a starter, how do you feel about how The Last Jedi went?
Last Jedi was. I remember like going to see it and just like after a certain point you stop going to try and see movies on their opening day, and already I guess I didn't have a very good like high appeal for it because I waited like 3 weeks to watch it.
Oh, you know what? I just realized I misspoke. The last one was The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you were talking about
Okay.
So you're talking about Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker?
Well, go ahead and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, Last Jedi, I didn't go in with my hopes high, and they still let them down. Like,
yeah.
It just so many kind of like so many plot holes, so many like band-aids, so many.
Yeah.
My biggest problem, I did a stand-up bit on it too, and I wish I would have remembered Star Wars to talk about, but I guess I have some respect for it. That I didn't want to badmouth them. But, like, all these movies lately are trying really hard to make, like, and they'll make it very apparent. They're not, like, there's not subtle at all, but they're making all these obnoxiously, like, women are strong, like, super, and I feel like Star Wars, that one was where, like, that and like Marvel's Endgame like really pushed the envelope where I'm like, stop
Endgame
it.
was fine except for that one scene where it was like,
yeah, I know the one
like,
scene.
we all know what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
come on, guys.
Yeah, stop it. Like you could have did this in a way more coy and awesome way.
Could have been a way more subtle and like not as
Well, I mean, it's also
pandering
bullshit
way.
because
like what would have been awesome to me is if like Captain America was looking for a shield and then all the women just point to it like it's over there, you dumbass. Like but and this one, what I'm getting at though is like, and here's something I need to explain to everybody. Like, if everybody's
Miles
awesome,
hates women.
no,
Oh,
if
God.
everybody's awesome, nobody is.
Sure.
Okay, so I feel like, you like are literally pointing out and rubbing our noses in it. Like we're gonna make like look at all these new female characters. Look at them. Rub your nose in it. Like they were literally rubbing my nose in it. I feel at some point.
Yeah.
I'm like.
I just thought it was bullshit because like none of them have their own movies. So like, why are you making it like, oh fucking look at how badass these people are who
Yeah,
we're
but,
not
like-
giving any movies to. By the way.
But like one
Well,
thing that pisses me off
yeah.
too is like
Black
fucking
Widow, but I
Captain
mean-
Yeah.
Captain Phasma, dude. You didn't even
Captain
take
Marvel
off her
is-
yeah,
fucking
what
helmet.
the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
Brienne of Tarth is one of my favorite characters. You didn't even fucking show her face in Star Wars. Like I don't even know if that's fucking her under that helmet.
Oh yeah, it
You
was
know?
just like her voice, and you're just supposed to get it.
Yeah,
And
and I'm
it's
like, no, like that pissed me off more than anything. I'm like,
Oh, and I love Brianna Tarth. She's even better in the books, dude. And there's
She's
a
a
chance
badass
that
in the
we
books,
might
yeah.
transition into some fucking Game of Thrones
I
talk.
gave you a wide open shot
Oh,
right there.
I don't want to derail this yet. We can keep
Yeah,
talking
but
Star Wars.
that was my bad too, because I was just like that. I don't even know her name. I just know that's Brianna fucking Tarth, and you
Right.
fucking Jewed me out of. Oh, that was
Gwendolyn
bad.
something.
Oh, edit that. Edit that.
You
You
fucking...
Weinstein me out of it.
Oh boy,
He's Jewish, right?
yeah, he's a piece of shit. They fucked. I mean, they fucked it up, and it was. There's so many things. It really was. So for a lot of people who don't know, the first movie was done by. I'm fucking blanking on his name now.
Star Trek guy, right?
Yeah, the guy he did. He's done a bunch
fucking-
of shit. Fucking.
What's his fucking name?
James Cameron, is that it?
No,
No, James
now he's a
Cameron's
younger
Avatar.
guy. Oh, fuck,
Um,
damn it.
It's initials.
Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
It was
thank
done
you.
by J.J. Abrams, and J.J. Abrams is fucking great. And like so the first one of the new trilogy, which is what was it called?
Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. Thank you. So the Force Awakens was basically like a remake of A New Hope.
Episode 4.
And so everyone was butthurt, but it was done pretty well. I thought it was a good setup. And then the second one, the Last Jedi, they handed it over to this other guy, Ryan Johnson. Thank you. And Ryan Johnson basically shit all over his big boy pants. I think that movie was fucking horrifically bad.
Yeah,
it was
there
so
were times
stupid.
literally in the middle of the movie where I'm like, this is dumb. Like
yeah.
And I feel like when I finally watched Rise of Skywalker, again, I went in with very low expectations.
Me too. Yeah.
But that's also how I go with a lot of movies now. Like, so I'm not trying to like shit on Star Wars or anything like that.
No, I am.
But I go into a lot of movies with low expectations, and I feel like my expectations were barely met with this one, kind of.
Well, I think one thing that was good about it is that they basically explained away the entire last movie.
Yeah, that
was the best thing they
that was
could
the
have done.
whole movie. The whole movie was just them being like, "Oh,
The
we're sorry about the last Jedi."
The whole movie
guys.
was a fumble recovery.
I mean, the first 30 minutes was basically a montage of like, "Oh, you remember the Last Jedi? Forget about all of those things. We're redoing this, and now we're starting again." Like, it was so fast. It was so much information. It was basically all like, sorry about the Last Jedi. It should have never happened.
Right.
Forget everything that ever happened there. It was the Last Jedi was so dumb, and like one of the central themes was basically like, the Jedi are stupid. It doesn't matter. Like, we're going to burn down the Jedi Temple, and then Yoda's going to show up and be like, who gives a fuck? And then disappear. And it was like none of this needs to be passed out. And then right away in the newest one, what's it called? I'm already
Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker. They like right away in the beginning, like, she pulls out a book. And it's like, oh, let me look this up. And it's kind of be like, oh, remember how in the last one we thought that books don't matter? Now we're
I took all of them.
Yeah, I took all of them. Surprise, because the last movie doesn't count. You know what I mean?
And I had several talks with Luke about several like Sith holocrons and shit that you've never heard of before unless you watch like.
And that was the thing. Mark Hamill, literally after the last one, after the Last Jedi, he came out and he was like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. He was like, this is not. This character that I'm playing is not Luke Skywalker. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, like it that didn't make sense either. And something that just kind of always perturbed me, if they're talking about the Force, and I know Hayden Christensen sucks.
Oh, he's
I'm very well aware of that, but like
he ruined all those movies.
Yeah, but like at another aspect, Darth Vader is a motherfucking badass, and he had nothing to say. Not a goddamn thing to say while all this is happening. They're just like, yeah, you can hear ghosts and stuff. Yeah, for sure. And people.
Oh, Darth Vader, the main character? Nah.
No, but no, like he don't want to talk to any of y'all because he's like, I mean, you can't even get like a Darth Vader like James Earl Jones like, I gloved up, guys. I gloved up big time. Like,
I mean, it's true. As much as they talk to dead people, like he's sitting there, fucking Kylo Ren is sitting there with Vader's helmet all the time. You think Vader could just pop up and be like, hey, what's up? You want to talk?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you gave me so much hope in that department, like, and then just nothing.
Give you a new hope?
No, it was an old hope.
I think Vader's pretty much just like Bush was in 2007, just being like, I'm just not going to say anything and run out the clock.
Honestly, though, but
I don't want to upset anyone. I fucked up a little.
I give George Bush that because after his presidency, he was just like, dude, thank God.
He's like, did I get through this?
That's all. Yeah, that's all Vader's doing. He's like, listen, like I fucked up. I killed a bunch of kids. I think I'm just gonna run out the clock on this one.
They have that in common for sure.
I'm just gonna go to my ranch in Naboo. And
I think
smoke some weed.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
make
fine.
some paintings.
Yeah.
I think George Bush looked over to the Emperor, which was Dick Cheney, and was like,
"Oh my God, yeah! Oh my God, yes,
yes."
And Dick Cheney was like, "Kill more of the children."
I don't have a wife anymore or a lung. Yeah. Like, have you seen my face? It's like a Band-Aid when you that's been sitting on a thumb for too long, and then when you take it off, it's like
pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, my opinion, and you guys feel free to jump in. as of the new trilogy, which was The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, I would give it out of 10 probably like an 8, a 2, and then a 7 or 8. What do you think?
Here's the thing. As a fan, if anything Star Wars comes out, I'm in it. Like I'm
Dude,
gonna
The
fucking
Mandalorian is so good.
I'm gonna watch it.
I'll tell
like,
you what.
can
No,
tell me.
let me stop you there. All right, real quick. I'm sorry. I'm already derailing my own thing I brought up. Did you guys see the Han Solo movie?
Yes,
I did.
It's the worst fucking movie I've ever seen in my
It's
entire
not.
life.
It's not.
That movie
and
had
it is.
4 directors. 4 of them. Because they kept quitting because they're like, this movie fucking sucks dick. They had to bring in Ron Howard to fucking finish it at the end. It's a trash can. That movie is a fucking trash can. There was literally people walking out of the theater and other people laughing out loud. And I was one of them when I saw it here in Steamboat.
Okay, first off, like maybe I'm
I
remembering.
came out a little hot there. I fucking hate that movie.
It's fine. It's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. Okay. Just remember, like, whenever I get defensive about TNT next time, all right? Just remember, like.
Yeah, you're right. It's the best AC/DC song. Oh, wait. What are you talking about?
Okay. Sidetracking.
Oh,
Anyways.
go ahead.
Anyways, but, like, I didn't mind Solo because of the main reason I went to go see that movie was the main reason why I did so okayly. And that was
Daenerys.
that was
So
Donald Glover.
O'Kaylee?
Donald Glover playing Lando Calrissian.
I know. He did great.
That was
Here's the best part.
That was the only reason why I went to go see that movie. To be quite frank with you, I knew Star Wars at this point was like.
Honestly, most of the acting was pretty
The guy that did Han Solo did do
The
a
guy who
good
did
job,
Han was pretty good.
but
and,
he had
and
shit to work with.
And
is the thing.
look who else is making an appearance in the Star Wars universe though is Emilia Clarke playing Homegirl.
she was awful.
Like,
I love fucking Thrones. She is horrible in everything that's not Daenerys. Everything she does is trash. Did you see the fucking Terminator movie she was in where she played Sarah Connor?
I did.
She's fucking trash.
How did Arnold Schwarzenegger
Sarah
be
Connor.
Sarah Connor?
Sarah Connor?
Sarah Connor.
Yeah, but
she's
again, how-
trash.
How does
Fucking hot trash bud.
literally Arnold acted the fuck out of that movie better than anybody.
Arnold's a fucking stud.
Dude,
Yeah, dude.
Arnold is Terminator.
He's quite literally the Terminator.
Some people have told me that my dad looks like a fat version of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Machete.
So you
had
mean
a-
Arnold Schwarzenegger after like
No,
2008?
yeah.
Like current Arnold
Like
Schwarzenegger.
current Arnold.
He looks like
really-
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Shout out to Arnold.
Arnold
He
Schwarzenegger
listens.
and
Yeah, he
no, I'm telling you, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Machete. I swear to God, like except I got the hair, my dad did not. But no, like I really want you to meet my dad now whenever he comes into town, if he ever does. But like, yeah, like you might. It's the eyes.
I'm sure he'll be back.
Come on, Miles. You
Oh,
got one
dude.
job.
You
You got one
job.
job to be the one guy.
Han Solo, like it was fucking terrible. Like the acting was good. It was fucking terrible. I thought, like, honestly, like the Mandalorian is the only good thing that's come out since like Episode 6,
Dude,
because like
no.
everything else is unnecessary.
Star Wars Rebels.
No,
is-
no. You're both wrong. Rogue One. Is
Oh, actually, yeah, well,
fucking
Rogue One was phenomenal.
So
Rogue
good.
One was
I
great.
loved Rogue One because it was one of those things where like the whole time you're watching it, you know this is going to end badly.
Right.
Like this is literally one of those times where like the good guys are
Also,
not going to win.
if you did not get an erection when fucking Darth Vader
That was
appeared
the
and lit
highlight
his
of the movie for me
lightsaber,
because
like
it's
So good.
also
Don't
they got
talk to me.
They got motherfucking Ip Man to play the non-Jedi character with just the blind man with a stick.
Oh,
yeah.
it's so cool.
Oh,
Yep.
but that's literally my
Oh,
mom.
I feel the force. And he's like,
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
literally like my mantra when I'm on the line and shit's about to get really like I'm on with the force is with me.
I want the force. The force
The
with me.
force with
I
me.
want the force. The force with
And then
me.
I'm like, fuck all of you, no! Like, and then I go dark side immediately. Like, and I start force shocking.
I say that when I'm about to come and I like want to hold out for longer. I am with the Force. The Force.
I want the force. The force with me. I
What'd you
want the
say?
force.
What'd you say? Nothing, babe. Nothing. I'm with the
Midi-
Force.
Oh, there's midichlorians on your chest. Fucking midichlorians.
So no, I mean, hey, there it is.
Yeah, midichlorians. Thank you, Andre.
There it is.
I've had some people say, our buddy Reed, shout out to Reed, who's
Shout
done
out
the
to
podcast before.
Reed.
What's up?
Reed thinks that Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie, And like,
I don't know about that, but
My favorite one
for me, it's
It's
still
up there.
for me it's still Empire Strikes Back.
Empire.
I mean, like that's kind of like the go-to is like
for
the
me,
best
for
one
me
is
actually,
Empire.
it is Return of the Jedi.
You think you like Return better
Well,
than Empire?
Because it's probably one of the ones that's like George.
That's my number 2, by the way.
George Lucas. I feel like when he did the reshoots or whatever, I think Return of the Jedi was one of the ones he didn't fuck with that much at all. Because
He did less, yeah.
Yeah, because that was more of a Steven Spielberg thing, I think.
Fucking hate that they did that, by the way.
But
Han shot first. I'm fucking saying it.
Dude, I
I'm
have
so
a
pissed.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In Return of the Jedi, George Lucas, since he didn't have a lot to do with Return of the Jedi, he didn't do a lot of the reshoots with it. So I saw it also in theaters. Like they re-released them all into theaters, and then like for
Right.
whatever reason, like my mom was able to get me to the dollar theater one, like, and the only one I could catch was Return of the Jedi. And it was just a fucking great day for me. My mom bought me like a Luke Skywalker action figure, and we
Fuck
saw
yeah.
like fucking Return of the Jedi.
Fuck yeah.
And it was most dope. It was like one of my favorite memories. Like, but also it's like one of
It's
the
like one of the
best.
few memories with your actual family being around, right? Before they abandoned you, you were raised by wolves.
Yeah, that happened for sure. That was before I became a Lobo Grande. But yeah. And all I knew was the Force.
Lobo Grande.
Yeah, that was before I became a Jedi too, and a Chef Lord, and
Yep. A
stand-up
chef lord.
comic. Yeah, but yeah, dude. But like, Luke got a green lightsaber. That was dope.
Pretty cool.
Fucking Han Solo came back. You know, you thought he was gonna die, and even fucking like Harrison Ford didn't know if he was coming back, but they were like, "Hey, do one more." Like that's the whole reason why they froze him in carbonite in Empire, was because Harrison Ford was like,
I don't know if I'm coming back.
"I
yeah.
do not like. I don't want to come back." And they're like,
Right.
"Well, we'll leave it open." He's like, "I don't want to come back." Like, "Oh, look, you're frozen in carbonite." He's like, "Don't bring me back."
And they're like, you're coming back.
I mean,
He's
he
like,
keeps saying that's what happened in this fucking last trilogy. Like, he
And
was
dude,
like,
he's
kill
been
me.
Yeah,
Just
and
fucking kill me in Force
yeah,
Awakens.
his entire Star Wars experience is like,
Yeah.
can you guys please
Just
fucking
fucking
kill
murder
me
me.
off already?
You're like, you're the only guy
Fuck.
that's holding it together. I'm literally wearing vest and boots for a reason right now.
Like he wanted out. I mean, you know who was originally supposed to play?
Tom Selleck, right?
No. I'm talking about who was really supposed to play Anakin Skywalker in the new trilogy.
Oh, you talking about
I
the
don't.
who?
So they offered it initially to Leo,
Oh,
wow.
my god!
and Leo.
I don't
was-
know why, but your face, I thought you were gonna say Macaulay Culkin.
Leo McCulkin.
Leo, yeah, fucking.
No, they offered it to Leo DiCaprio.
DiCaprio.
And he was like, "Are you fucking high?" He's like, "I don't want to deal with this fucking circus that is
Right,
Star
yeah.
Wars."
I mean,
And so
the
he was
biggest
like,
enemy
no.
of Star Wars is the fans. Like, that's a
Well,
fact.
no, the biggest enemy of Star Wars is fucking George Lucas because he sucks dicks. Like, he came up with the idea, and then all he's done since then is fucking drive it into the ground with his fucking Jar Jar bullshit and
I
his
kinda wish that
remake
was real.
bullshit.
I kind of wish the Jar Jar thing was real.
Oh, the Jar Jar theory. For those who don't know, so there's a fan theory. And my fucking my brother actually thinks this is real, and I've had to be like, no.
I have another fan theory to tell you after that one. I wish
Okay.
that it was real.
All right,
too.
so
Yeah.
I'll
Darth
briefly explain
Jar
the
Jar.
Darth Jar Jar. So there's basically a fan theory to explain why Jar Jar is such a fucking stupid, horrible character that makes no sense, and it is that he was supposed to be a Sith Lord, and it goes through in detail a lot of the writing.
Trained Darth Plagueis,
Oh my
the
god!
wise.
Oh,
And
you said Darth Plagueis?
you got Plagueis.
Oh, I wrote it.
Music on Bombad. So there's a bunch of parts in fucking the first movie that make no goddamn sense because it's written so horrifically bad, and like there's parts where it's like, in the Jedi Code where they're like, there is no such thing as like coincidence, and like everything is fate and like purpose, and there's parts where like Jar Jar like has a droid on his foot and he like flips him around for no reason and it
Basically,
kills like 10 people.
Jar Jar's doing like the martial arts known as drunken monkey.
Yeah.
Which is like where you look like you're a weak, defenseless person, but it's really like defense mechanisms, and you're tricking motherfuckers, but you're also drunk.
But you're also hammered.
Yeah, you're also hammered, but like, yeah, like there's a whole movie with Jackie Chan about it.
And
I mean,
well, which is a fucking awesome movie, by the way.
yeah, but
Shout
the
out
same,
Jackie Chan.
the
Side
same
note,
thing
yeah.
is like what I'm saying is I guess the whole concept was like Jar Jar's such a great Sith Lord that he's doing drunken monkey on these droids to where to his average Gungans he's like, oh, he's fucking up, but really he's just taking out a whole battalion.
Yo, for real?
Yeah, I mean, that shit happens, yeah.
I would have taken Jar Jar hooked up to whatever the fucking the Emperor was hooked up on.
Oh,
in
yeah,
Rise of
the-
Skywalker.
yeah.
I would have taken that shit. That
Oh,
would've
dude,
been
that would have.
I
I
am
would have.
Jar Jar.
just like, yeah. Or no, just fucking like, you saw in here. I know. Misa every voice that you've ever heard.
We saw
Fucking-
all these Siths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's also, I mean, there's points like in episode 1 where they like walk up to like the water where they're gonna go down to meet the Gungans, and he's just like, "Oh, here we go," like fucking Mario, and then he does like a giant fucking quadruple front flip and like into the water, and it's like, how can you do that if you're not a fucking Jedi? How can you just
Also,
jump 30 feet in the air?
They also say when he goes back down into the city that like when you see the other Gungans, they don't look at him like, oh, you're like a klutz. They look like kind of afraid of him. Like,
Oh yeah, oh,
yeah, that's what I've heard too. Like they're like, oh, dude, get away, it's Jar Jar, not get away, it's Jar Jar, because he's like,
right. They're like, oh, fucking Jar Jar again.
They're
They're
like,
like,
oh,
oh shit, it's Jar Jar.
oh fuck, Jar Jar's back. That guy, I don't know, dude, but like whenever he's around, some fucking dark ass shit goes down, and she's just like, whoops, you know.
Right, no, I mean, my brother, again, he was like, he read this theory and was like, you guys, this is totally true. There's no way this isn't true. And I was like, no, fucking George Lucas is such a horrifically fucking stupid writer. Because I've seen behind the scenes where he's like with his people and he's like, you know, we're shooting this scene with Jar Jar and we've never had a character as funny as Jar Jar before. And he's so funny. So, like, that's going to be the emphasis of this scene is how funny he is. And it's like, no, he's not funny, actually, you fucking potato. Like, he doesn't even, there's no jokes. There's no funny things happening. He just wanders around and like, oh, Misa gonna kick this droid.
That's how, like, you know, it ended, though. But I don't know. Like, now we're in a whole other thing with it. But
Do you think that theory is valid, or do you think it's all bull? Do you think it got shut down because Jar Jar is fucking racist, or do you think
Every time I see Jar Jar, I picture somebody in blackface. I don't know why. That's
like
just...
blackface and Asian face, and like literally they're like, let's get all the stereotypes of weird like things. Let's get lisp. Let's get like talking like
Well,
worse than Yoda.
So when people, I remember when that movie came out and people were like, "Dude, Jar Jar is like so racist," and this
But
and
it's
that.
like-
and at first I was like, "That's stupid." Everyone thinks everything is racist, which is true to an extent. But then later,
Rewatching it,
later I
it's
saw
total-
Gone with the Wind, and I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Ooh,
Oh
he said
shit,
Misa."
Jar Jar is racist.
He
Oh.
said Misa. Where was the inspiration for this, George? And George is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm a fucking potato." That's the inspiration.
Yeah.
So,
but like to be fair, like I heard
I
another.
love Kubrick.
I heard another fan theory that I really wished was true, but unfortunately, the way things have unfolded is not true.
oh boy.
There was a fan theory that I read that frickin' Mace Windu, motherfucking Samuel L. Jackson.
Has a doesn't lightsaber? No, that's true.
No,
It's
that's
like all these
absolutely true.
motherfucking Jedi on this
On my
motherfucking plane.
temple, like yeah, like but no, the whole thing is like I heard a theory where they were like when The Force Awakens came out, we were like, who the fuck is Snoke? Like who the fuck
Oh,
is this
you
guy?
thought it was him.
Yeah, who the fuck is Snoke? And then some people were like, what if it was Mace Windu? And I was like, what? And they're like, well, think about it. Like, Jedi get shocked the fuck out of them all the time.
True.
Jedi get fall down buildings all the time. Like, also, like, there's something to say, like, who the, Mace Windu, then technology there is also, like, really good.
Well, yeah.
Look how
but-
many robotic limbs Anakin Skywalker has, you know, to become Darth Vader.
Well, yeah, but
3.
But Mace Windu was a black Jedi, and Hollywood's not gonna let that happen.
Yeah, but, you know, it's nice to think, like, okay, like,
Can only have one.
Yeah,
We have
realistically,
2, then we're getting out of control.
realistically, in the Star Wars universe, a black man should be able to get electrocuted by force lightning, fall out of a building, hit the ground, and at least be able to get some motherfucking robot legs.
And turn white and shitty, kind of like Michael Jackson.
Well, look what happened. Look what happened to the Emperor. Like when Mace Windu deflected all that lightning back at him. He got the wrinkle prune mode. You know.
Yeah, he pruned up. Yeah.
Yeah, so if the Palpatine shot a black guy with that, who's to say he can't get into wrinkle prune mode due to like force lightning and maybe turn white? I don't know. But
I've
here's
never
the whole,
been shocked
but
myself.
here was the whole reasoning behind
I've never been
it.
a black man falling off a window.
Yeah, right.
But here's the whole reasoning.
I have been a black man, but not falling off a window.
Not falling off a window, no.
Here's why I think that, or not I think that, but here's why the theory was thought that. Okay, so on that note, Mace Windu has a motherfucking Robitussin lightsaber. So
Boom.
that happened. Yeah.
Is Robitussin purple? I thought it was red.
Depends on the flavor you get, but
His is grape, obviously.
Yeah.
I go original.
It's really he has the
It goes good with vodka, so that's
That's all.
Samuel Jackson has a purple drink lightsaber. Okay,
Of course, naturally.
All right.
Yeah.
Motherfucking
Yep.
hypnotic or something. Anyways, so
Tastes like grape, motherfucker.
so Samuel L had to talk to George L and be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, George,
I'll be in your shitty movie.
but I want a purple motherfucking lightsaber." And George Lucas was like, "Done." And then he's like, "Fuck. How do I
that
write?"
was too easy.
He was like, "How do I write a purple lightsaber into my intricate storyline, though?" You know, so he has to think about it. He's like, "Okay,
See, that's she said is he didn't at all.
well, no, he did. This is the kind of shit he thinks about, or somebody does.
He's
like,
like,
well,
okay.
well,
And
purple.
he kept
Is,
shitting in his hand and rubbing on his
yeah,
face.
he's like, well, purple is a mixture of blue and red, so that's kind of like the light meets the dark, kind of sort of. So in order to get a purple lightsaber, you have to basically harness like dark lightsabers, like wielding. You have to harness all your bad dark energy and make it good energy, basically.
Okay.
So Mace Windu is one of the first people to like make this ability happen. So he gets a purple lightsaber. So when Mace Windu is like, "Oh, I've mastered both light and dark. Oh, I'm such a badass motherfucker. Who the fuck is this little kid who thinks he's now the chosen one and not I'm the chosen one, motherfucker?" So that's why he's so hard on Anakin Skywalker in like the entire series, because he's like, "This motherfucker thinks he's the chosen one. I'm the chosen one. I killed the motherfucking emperor anyway."
I'm tired of this motherfucking kid.
I'm tired of this
Thinking they're the
motherfucking
motherfucking
kid
chosen
think he's
one.
the motherfucking chosen
He's
In
one.
this motherfucking
Sith
temple.
His
in my
lightsabers-
motherfucking Senate.
Yeah, he's got a motherfucking blue lightsaber. Mine's motherfucking purple. I killed the emperor, and then he fucking kills me. Oh, fuck
And
no.
then I end up on a plane with a bunch of motherfucking snakes.
Yeah, what?
Any of us die in any other way than Samuel L. Jackson listening to this podcast and murdering us, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
You think he'd kill us by snake or by lightsaber?
To this day, one of my favorite
By Robitussin
cheeseburgers.
with vodka.
Can I die while eating a Hawaiian burger with a Sprite to chase it? Like, that's how I want to go.
Oh shit! I just want to hear like comedian Andre Martinez shot 17 times by.
Robitussin and vodka
Yeah.
found on the body.
Oh shit!
I'm out of coffee. I don't know how that's relevant, but
But I mean that also makes no sense because like isn't the way that you get red lightsabers is like the bleeding or whatever?
no, red.
Because you're supposed to like because
A red lightsaber is synthetic.
Well, no, I mean I thought what they did was like they
As opposed to what?
because one of the trials.
Kyber crystals are what Jedi use, and that's actually what is powering the Death Star.
Right.
And and that's the color, and there's only like 3 or 4 colors or whatever. But I thought like I read
Isn't it-
There's
in
like
the
actually,
Darth
like-
Vader comic book or whatever, it came out that like
I've actually
one
don't
of
know
the
about this, so you might.
yeah,
be.
so like one of the trials that Sith go through is that they the master like destroys their lightsaber and they have to kill a Jedi with no lightsaber, just with a Force, and then they like they make their own lightsaber with the Jedi who they killed, and they use the blood to
Holy
like
shit.
and it's called like the bleeding or whatever, and like they use the blood to like shift the Kyber crystal that they had
Into red?
into red. Yeah.
Oh, that's
you know
very
what
interesting.
you know how Anakin probably got his. They
By
probably
being a shitty fucking actor?
well, no, they probably like
Kids.
they probably like yeah. Well, I was thinking.
By killing younglings.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking that he
Bit of a
basically probably got
loophole.
like his, like they just like took his own blood, like, "Oh, you killed Anakin Skywalker with the Force and became Darth Vader because you couldn't even kill a real Jedi. Obi-Wan
Nice.
Kenobi had the high ground, you dumbass." Like,
I have the higher ground. I've said that so many times. Anytime I'm standing above anyone else,
I have
One
the
of the
high
best
ground.
memes. One
it's
of the
over,
best
Anakin.
memes that I've ever seen is fucking it's that scene in Return of the Jedi when Luke is like on the like high place or whatever, and then Darth Vader goes like, Obi-Wan has taught you well, and then it just says like you realize he says that because Luke has the high ground.
That's
Like,
fucking
I
pretty
going
sweet.
down there.
Yeah, like brilliant.
There's some things that they do accidentally that turn out to be
That's just
smart.
fucking exactly. There's no way George Lucas was like,
No.
oh, this is. Yeah.
No, they
George Lucas was shitting in his own hands and eating it while someone else was writing the script.
Spielberg was like mythos. fucking George Lucas is like, what'd you say? Nothing, George.
They're like, George,
Yeah.
enjoy your
Yeah.
Here's some more poop. Let me here you go. Have some more. You think,
yeah.
okay, good day. And then
I think
You
Ron
know
Howard.
I have a ranch.
I think Ron Howard will direct your shitty movie if you give him
Yeah,
a yellow
right.
lightsaber.
Yeah.
So just go do that.
give Ron Howard fucking $20 and a yellow lightsaber, and he'll do the rest of your shit fucking movies. Oh my god. Oh shit. Anyways. So
At a standstill. Game of Thrones.
you want to do the Thrones things?
You know, we brought it up so many times, and I know I challenged you to like do it naturally, but I think
At
that
this
this
point, it
is
would be
as natural as it's
disrespectful
gonna get
not to,
because
yeah.
we've now shot so much on Star Wars with fan theories. And
I'm sorry, Star Wars shat on itself. We're just
Yeah.
here.
I know.
Much like George Lucas, it's shit in its
It's-
own hands. And
yeah.
You guys stay tuned for Star Wars 3, but we're gonna turn Star Wars 2 into Game of Thrones 1.
I can't wait for episode 10 when when George Lucas comes back and just goes
when
like,
Jon Snow kills the Emperor
Yeah.
and
Literally, like, yeah, George Lucas be like, "Hey, dude, J.J.R. Martin or whatever the fuck,
George R.R. Martin.
I get
yes.
all these accurate like your
J.R.S.L.
Abrams?
Abram Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Howard,
Martin J.R. Abrams.
yeah,
Yes.
Woody Harrelson.
Favreau.
Woody R.R.
Woody
Harrelson.
R.R. Harrelson.
All right, so we'll just jump in. So
Thrones.
for those who don't know me, I'm a gigantic fucking Thrones nerd.
He's about as big as nerd of Game of Thrones as I am Star Wars. Like, I feel that.
At
Like,
least.
you've
I
read
mean,
you've read the books.
I've
right?
read all of the books.
I've never read the books of Thrones, so I'm a little, but I've watched the show, and I like, yeah, that show is definitely.
So I have a 4x8 map on my wall in my living room. And at any point in time in the books or the show, you could be like, Kyle, where are these people at? And I could fucking take a laser pointer and show you where they are on the map.
It helps to
exactly.
have that mapped and actually just like look at it without.
It does. And
like,
there's
you
a map in the beginning of every book, which is
It
cool.
helps to have Kyle ready with the fucking laser pointer.
Dude, and I don't always just blind you with it.
He doesn't
Sometimes I
even
use it.
even make eye contact. Like before you ask, hey Kyle, where? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just already.
Like,
pointing.
what's happening?
I wish
And
I had a
I'm
map
just-
in here right now. I'll just be like, "Hey Kyle, let's start quizzing you.
Oh,
Just
bud.
just fucking.
Where's-
You can
where-
fucking.
where the-
well,
Where the fuck is Tarth, Kyle?"
Tarth is all the way to the farthest southeast point of Essos. Is where
Yeah,
it's. Well, no, I'm sorry. That's Karth. You're talking about Tarth.
Tarth, like Brienne of
So
Tarth.
Karth, the greatest city that ever was or will be.
Karth, yeah, that's where that black guy's
That's
from.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where, who actually
That's
didn't
Zor
have,
Zor and Doxos.
and he
is
has
who you're
no
referring
money,
to.
right?
He is actually so Zor Zor and Doxos in the books is way different. The
Oh,
the
really?
whole Karth thing is way different. So in the books, Zor Zor and Doxos is actually gay. And he's trying to be like, Daenerys, you should bang me. And Daenerys is like, dude, you're fucking gay. It's like super obvious. He's like, well, I know about it. Like, he's like, I want your money. It's gonna be cool. Just fucking,
I can suck a pussy.
yeah. He's like, I'll figure it out.
And now
He's like, just put your
what-
fucking pussy in my butthole.
what-
She's like,
what-
that's not how this works.
I have a
You're like,
question,
I don't
though,
think
is-
you've ever. Yeah.
is that guy in the books black? Do they make
Mm.
that obvious, or is it just in the real
Honestly,
world?
I
Yeah,
don't-
they make it obvious. They yo every other sentence.
I'm trying to
That's how-
remember his descriptions in the
Like,
books. I don't.
he
think
was a
he's-
dark chocolate male.
Yes.
They describe him like a dark
I
chocolate
think
Labrador.
I think in the books they're like he's Kevin Garnett, but no, that's not true. But he's
they
He
describe him
looked
as
like a handsome Michael Clark Duncan.
They describe him as
AKA
yeah.
Michael Clark Dutton. He's a star.
Uh,
Shout out. Rest in peace.
I
Rest in
miss
peace,
him. I
Michael
miss
Clark.
him. I
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
miss
the
him.
dude.
best. Michael Clark
Yeah.
Dutton was the best. You ever seen Slammin' Salmon?
No, it's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of my
Fucking
favorite
so
movies,
good.
dude. Broken Lizard. Shout
I
out
met
to
all
them.
those guys from Broken Lizard one time. I
Yeah.
think that's for another time. But anyways,
Yeah. So
I don't remember. I do not remember if he's black. I don't think he is. He's very eccentric though in the books, and he's basically like, "Hey, Daenerys, fucking come, fucking marry me."
what about those weird purple wizards in that town? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
They're not. So the whole Exodus to Karth, it's not the same. Like it's not like they kill everyone and they leave. They just fucking leave. They're just kind of like fuck off and then they leave. They have a big. When Daenerys goes to the temple and she has that kind of fucking freak out and there's all and like she's like chained up and then she kills the fucking wizard. So it's actually the whole chapter as she goes into the books and it's like a giant prophecy fucking like acid trip. It's like if you ever read the book Black Elk Speaks, it's like that. It's like his fucking like
Neither one of us have read that book, so
it's kind of an obscure book, to be fair. But that's what it reminds me of. Is it's like she basically has this giant prophecy where she goes room to room and she sees all these different visions, which does happen in the book. Remember, she goes room to room and she comes to that one point where she's on the Iron Throne and Drogo is there and there's like snow all over the place and shit.
yeah.
All that shit happens. There's all kinds of crazy shit that happens. And then she kind of gets through and is like, fuck off, give me my dragon back, and she leaves. And that's more or less what happens. And like they're not like, oh, we're gonna try to kill you, but we couldn't, so the entire city is now gone. She's just more or less, she goes through this thing and is like, these wizards tried to steal my dragons, so suck my fucking dick, and then she just leaves. Is more or less what happens.
Okay. I feel like this is a great, just like, I'm going to ask Kyle questions about Game of Thrones, and I'm just curious about
Oh yeah, you go for it. I mean, it's been a long time, but I remember most of it.
Okay, so Daenerys' handmaiden, the foxy girl.
Missandei?
Yeah. I heard she's...
Say that again.
Missandei.
Missandei.
It sounds like Andrhey, so I'm just I'm blowing it.
Missandei.
So I don't remember if it's Missandei.
Mufasa.
Missandei. I'm glad you got that.
Should not be named. Prince Ali, fabulous. That's different lore.
Dude, I just watched that.
So,
Aladdin.
wait, no,
Aladdin fucks.
Missandei's a super babe in the show. There's a scene in the book, and I don't remember if it's Missandei, but it's one of her handmaidens where, like, kind of randomly, they're on a ship, and Daenerys is, like, kind of like, I'm feeling kind of horny because I'm thinking about my dead husband, Khal Drogo, and her fucking handmaid just fucking rolls in, and they just have fucking lesbian sex. It's so sweet.
In the book, you're just like,
Basically, her handmaiden just comes in and like chows her box, and she's like, "Whoa!" and then she fucking gets off, and then they just go to bed.
Storm of Swords is actually considered erotica in some circles.
I did not know that.
Storm of Swords is my sword.
That was actually
storm.
Kyle's nickname in high school.
Hey,
Storm of Swords.
Yep.
1,000 bad swords.
What house would Miles be in?
Oh, bad. Miles would be.
I have the answer. I won the answer. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get.
You look so sad.
Oh man, what house would Miles be in? Let me think about that.
Or what house will you be in?
House would
if you
I
know
be
that,
in? Yeah. Oh, I could tell you. I would love to be in House Dane because House Dane is my favorite. Like Sir Arthur Dane, the Sword of the Morning.
Right.
Fucking stud.
Which one is he again?
So Sir Arthur Dane, he was the #1 Kingsguard under.
What's his face? The king.
Under the Mad King, but like mostly he was like friends with fucking Rhaegar.
Yeah.
And he's the one in the scene in the show where there's the flashback in season 6 where he has the 2 swords and he basically kills like fucking 10 people by himself.
Oh yeah.
That's Sir Arthur Dane. So House Dane
is
basically a house of like all just badass fucking dudes. And there's a cousin, it's not his brother, it's his cousin of House Dane, is a big part of the Dorne storyline in the book. So like there's pretty much all of the Dorne storyline is out of the show because it's just too much. There's just too many fucking storylines. They can't do all of it. But there's a part in the books where the sister of Oberyn tries to have an uprising against the crown, and they take Marcella. So Marcella was down there fucking like hooking up with the prince, and she's like fuck these guys. We're gonna have our own uprising. So they kidnap Marcella because they're like, she's the legit heir to the throne after Joffrey dies.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have a coup, and we're gonna bring fucking Marcella out, and we're gonna be like, Marcella's in charge, and we're basically sponsoring her. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work, but like it's I can't remember his first name. It's a Dane. What's the first name? But he goes by the Dark Star. So the
Ooh.
whole thing with the House Dane is that they have this fucking sword, and I think is it called Dark Star? What's the name of that sword? But it's supposed to be made out of a meteorite, and it like glows and shit, and it's legendary. And it's like it's not like like House Tarly.
Yeah.
Like how Tarly's like, I'm stealing this sword, fuck you, Dad, 'cause it's supposed to get passed down. So House Dane has this sword, and it literally glows, and it's fucking badass. But it doesn't get passed down. It's like, it gets passed down in House Dane, but you have to be fucking worthy. So it's like, you can be the top son or whatever, but like, if you're not a super badass knight Kingsguard, you don't get it. Like, House Dane is nothing to fuck with. Like,
yeah,
if
like you don't get Dark Star unless you're probably like head of the Kingsguard.
Right. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
be like Sir Arthur Dane, who's like one of the most badass knights to ever fucking live. And if you're not there, you don't get the sword.
Yeah.
But like, House Dane is like
that's funny because
on
that's
that
like
fucking thing.
that's like the dark saber from Star
That's
Wars.
literally what I'm
Like,
thinking
Yeah,
of,
like,
like-
it's the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like you have to like it's passed down
Yeah,
from
well,
Mandalorian. but it
that's
has
the
to be
thing
one.
too. Is like that the dark saber. There's only one, and
Yeah.
you see it in Star Wars: The Clone Wars,
uh-huh.
and it's like one of those things that were like you've never seen it anywhere else in any of Star Wars, and then at the end of the Mandalorian, they're like, oh, by the way, look at this.
Fucking here you go.
Yeah, and you're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? And you've like, if you watch any of the animated stuff, they give you so many like, look, there is a black lightsaber, but like,
It's cool that they're starting to like, cause I feel like all these things have seen the success of how the MCU has like brought so many
Right.
things together, and then now Disney is the umbrella of both these things now, and I think they're starting to be like, yo,
We gotta
the
fucking
more
cash
we
the- yeah.
collaborate other things, like people are into that, and I think that's a cool thing. It's
Yeah.
interesting that it's extra thought that has to
Just
be put
don't DC it and just fucking cram it.
well,
into
that's the
movie.
weird thing about DC is that like everything,
so horrible.
everything they do that's animated is pretty legit, and then
Everyone says.
Oh no, fucking yeah,
No,
amazing.
no, that's not true.
I-
I saw The Killing Joke.
okay, that's
That
like
movie fucking sucks.
there's the rule
1,000
and the
dicks.
exception, and yes, like
That movie is awful.
Killing Joke was a little weird for me too. But anyways, back on topic, Game of Thrones.
All right, so Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
So,
Miles' house.
Miles' house.
I would
I-
like to be House Dane. I got
You would like to
sidetracked
be
in that
House
story.
Dane. You would like to
You
be
have to
House
read the books. You can
Yeah,
figure that out.
I honestly, I'd love to be a Stark, but I mean that's that's probably not accurate. A more.
I was thinking you'd
a more-
maybe a Dornishman.
I actually saw myself more as like a Baratheon because that's the kind of king I'd be. Like, dude,
You're hardy like a Baratheon.
I'd be like, where's my Ned Stark? Because I don't want to do any of this.
You're like, I want to fucking be big and have like long hair and not give a fuck.
Oh,
and let the
dude,
Starks do it.
can we just
It's
go?
very fucking.
Can I just
Robert
go on a
Baratheon.
hunt? Like, I don't want to do any of this. Like,
kill a
reluctantly put
boar.
up with my wife while I fuck
oh,
everyone in a village.
dude, like, I don't even know what the fuck's up with my wife. Why are all my kids blonde haired, blue eyes? Like, I don't even. We had sex twice. Like, I don't even know.
I
Like,
pulled out both times. I don't
yeah, and
know
like
how.
she's fucking weird. I did this because I couldn't bone your sister. Like, I really wanted to bone your sister, dog. Like, for real. Like, that's what.
Your sister dog.
Uh, anyways, but
And
probably,
Andre
I'm a Lannister.
would of course no.
He
I'm a
kinda
fucking
is.
I was
Lannister.
gonna say
I'm-
Littlefinger. You're just Littlefinger.
he's trying to build his own house. Oh, look, I put a Robin, guys.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm a fucking Lannister. To
I can
the
say that.
core.
I mean, you're not blonde at all, but
Well, no, but it's. Just,
He's like the one
I'm
Baratheon
fucking.
child.
I'm fucking Tywin. I'm Tywin Lannister.
the fucking
Eh?
got it all in charge, figuring
yeah,
it
dude,
out,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
secretly behind the scenes the whole time.
Boom.
You know who also was
Tywin's the fucking best.
Yeah.
He's such a great
another
character.
house that I also liked, to be honest with you, was the House Mormont. Like, House,
Dude, Mormont's
Mormonts
the
are cool.
best.
Mormonts
like
are
that's
cool.
be the other house I want to be.
House Mormont remembers.
Yeah.
Do you remember House Mormont? Remember
The show does not
He
do them
refused the
justice.
call.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
show does not
Also,
do them
Jorah
justice.
Mormont,
Yes.
dude. Like that. He was.
Dude, Sir Jorah's fucking a stud.
Yeah.
And his dad, Joran Mormont, was the fucking head of the Nice
Yeah, that's what I'm
Ones.
Right,
saying. I'm
yeah.
like, I had to
They're
explain
all
that to
studs.
people. That's why I'm like, dude, do you realize the sword that Jon Snow rocks is like a Mormont sword?
From Bear Island, which is like northwest of the fucking north. It's like about as
I
far
was
north it
I was
goes.
wondering like where the fuck.
So Bear Island,
Bear Island
if you
was.
look at the entire north, it would be it's above the wall from like a latitude standpoint.
Oh,
But
shit.
it's northwest corner of the north is Bear Island. and that's where the fucking Mormonts live.
Oh, that's what's up. So it takes them a
Badass.
minute to get to fucking the castle, probably.
Yeah, the fucking
Like a
Mormons
boat.
don't fuck around, dude. They're fucking real Northern. Yeah, for sure.
for sure. And then there's the Karstarks.
The Karstarks.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are actually related to the Starks. They're like tangentially related from the Starks.
yeah.
And they live down in over White Harbor. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The Karstarks do White Harbor, and they have a big part in the books. So, well, fuck. I don't even know how much I want to give away. So like
Give away. The series is over.
No, it's fucking not
No, the
because
book
George
is
R. R.
coming
Martin
anew,
has books.
yeah.
The books are mostly so like seasons 1 through 6. Actually, seasons 1 through 5 are the books, and 1 through 6 is more or less the books.
And it's the first
And
like
then
4 books, right? Not even all of them.
There's 5 books.
Yeah,
so
but it's the first. Like the show is the first 4.
the show is
I
the
think.
first 5. So seasons 1 through 5 are the first 5 books.
Oh, okay. I
More
thought
or
it.
less.
Okay.
So like the last book ends with Jon Snow getting stabbed to death.
Okay.
And Jon Snow gets revived at the beginning of season 6.
Right.
And that book hasn't been released yet. Or-
No. So the next book out is The Winds of Winter, and then there's another book after that called A Dream of Spring. And so there's 2 more books left, which is pretty daunting because these books are fucking long. Like they're all like 500 plus pages, all 5 of them. And the last 2, which is a Feast for Crows and
Game of Thrones.
what is
A
the 5th one
Fe-
called?
A Dance with Dragons.
Yes,
Dance, yeah.
or a Feast for Crows and a Dance with Dragons they take place at the same time.
Same damn time.
The same. It's like a Dance with Dragon goes like a little bit past it. So like the last chapter of a Feast for Crows is basically like 3/4 of the way through the last one.
All right.
I already fucking forgot the name.
Yeah, Dance of fucking
A
Dragons.
Dance with Dragons.
Yeah,
thing,
and then Winds of Winter's coming
Winds
out.
of
and after
Winter is
that, A
next,
Dream of
and then it's A
Spring.
Dream of Spring is the last one.
Damn.
And like I said, the last chapter of the last book is Jon Snow getting killed by mutiny, which is similar but a little different.
Yeah, how did
In
it
the
happen in the book
books.
then?
I mean, it happens. It's more or less the same. Where like he invites all of the wildlings through the wall, and there's a mutiny. But like the main guy in the mutiny is Marsh, Bowen Marsh, who the Marsh. So the name Marsh.
Stan?
is-
Stan Marsh.
Stan Marsh.
No, it's okay, Stan. I'm just gonna get a little cancer.
It's a surname of Randy Marsh, right?
Yeah, so Sir Randy Marsh comes and he inflates his balls to a certain point and he starts hopping around. No, but so if you didn't know, so like Snow is the bastard name of the North.
Yeah.
Sand, like Alaria Sand, is the bastard name of the South. So the Reach, which is where like Jojen and shit, like the guy who can like see into the future and
Yeah.
shit, and his sister, they're from the Reach. And so the Reach is like, it's like right where like the neck is. Like if you look at the map, it's like right where the North connects like down, and it's all like crazy marshland and shit. And so Marsh is the bastard name of that area of the.
Oh, that's
of,
cool. What's the bastard name in like
Sanchez.
So there's the 7 kingdoms. The bastard name of like Storm's End, where that is Storm.
yeah.
And the bastard name of Dorne is Sand. The bastard name of there is Storm. The bastard name of
Like-
the Reach, which is like where like the Aarons are, where
Yeah.
like that crazy thing, that's Stone. The bastard, I'm trying to
Like
remember.
Casterly Rock, that area.
I'm trying to remember what the bastard name of like Casterly Rock. That is
Rock.
what I'm trying to remember the name of that fucking region. It might be Rock. Fuck. The bastard name below that of where like Highgarden is Rose.
Oh.
So I think I got all of them except for
Like,
God,
is
what is
King's
it?
Landing have like a fucking like bastard?
King's Landing is technically in the same place is stone, so it'd be storm, so it'd be storm.
Okay.
I believe.
Can you imagine having like fucking like bastard names here in Steamboat? Like, oh, that's fucking Gary Pons over there.
Gary Pons.
Like, oh, dude, that's Andre Stormpeak.
That's Jim Condo Land over there.
Oh, don't talk to him. That's Jared Dream Island.
Is that Philip Steamboat
Is
too?
that
Oh my god.
Oh, the worst would be Craig.
Craig, yeah.
What's that, Daniel Craig?
Oh my god, I don't know what else to say about Thrones. Do you have any other Thrones questions for me? I guess the Thrones seasons 1 through 6, best show ever.
Yeah.
7 and 8, they're
There's
not
just
real.
so much. Like what I
They're
love about
not
Thrones,
real.
is, like there's just so much information behind everything. Like I hear like
Well,
George R. R.
that's
Martin.
so. George R. R. Martin is not that great of an author. He's a pretty decent author, not like amazing. He's an amazing world builder.
Yeah,
Like the amount of detail that he has, and his
exactly.
fucking-
And that's what I
and,
hear. Like he's got other writers to help him, and that's
Yeah.
what he's done. He's like he has
yes,
people that like he's like giving them like this whole world. He actually has to go back to them and be like,
oh yeah.
what's the zip code for Castle Rock again?
Like, oh yeah, I'm sure. Like he's got like in every house. I mean, like there's probably 50 houses of like relevant names, and there's a backstory for every one of them. Like it's insane. And
Yeah.
there's some like the theme song or the I guess I'm trying to think what the term they would use. The house song for the Lannisters, the Rains of Castamere.
Right.
It's not house. It's not rain like rain from the sky. It's
rain.
House Rain. And so House Rain was the second biggest or second most powerful house in the kingdom.
And the
But they
Lannisters
were
fucking-
they were
yeah.
they were bannermen to the Lannisters. And it's not even like this is thousands of years ago. This was Tywin Lannister. So Tywin Lannister's dad, Titan, or Ty.
I just remember his fucking, what do they call him? The lion something.
I can't, it might be Titos or Titan, but basically, his dad was kind of a hand job, and like the house was slipping. And Tywin, at the age of like 14, like took over the whole fucking operation. Was like, get the fuck out of the way, Dad, because you're pathetic. And House Rain, which was their bannermen, was like, hey, we're more powerful than you. We should take over Castle Rock. And Tywin was like,
Tytos, yeah.
yeah, Tytos, thank you. But Tywin was like, here's the thing. We're going to fucking kill every single person who belongs to House Rain, and they did. And they killed everyone. They went, and this is, by the way, this is like bigger than House Baratheon. This is bigger than House Stark. This is bigger than House anything. The Highgarden, fucking all of the, they killed everyone. They were like, fuck you. You think you want to be like, you think you're number 2 to us and you want to be number 1? You're number 0 now. And they killed everyone. And so the Reigns of Castamere is a
It's a
song about how,
like murder,
about
and
how
massacre.
Tywin, and that's the thing is like every time you see Tywin like walk in and hear that song is about him. It's not about like his granddad or fucking his great uncle. It's about him and how he fucking killed everyone in House Rain.
Like
Which is why
Tywin
during,
Lannister like told his dad Tytos Lannister or whatever
Yeah.
to get the
Yeah.
fuck out of the way.
Yeah, he
and
was like,
then-
Tytos, you like shut the fuck up.
Hold
I'm
my-
in charge now.
Hold
He's
my
like,
wine. I
he's
got
like,
this.
yeah, hold my fucking goblet. House Rain needs to die, and he fucking killed all of House Rain, which was
Holy
their
shit.
bannermen. Like it was like
Holy
their
shit.
number 2 fucking house. It'd be like the Starks killing like all of the Karstarks.
That's
Yeah.
why the fucking the red wedding scene, which was like filmed fucking beautifully when it starts playing.
So
That's why
good.
fucking Caitlyn Stark is just like just her face immediately changes as it goes like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like
well, yeah, like oh
Yeah.
shit,
Immediately.
yeah,
It's
they
like-
heard that song and they're like, "This is
this is
fucking
what's happening. It's
Lannister,"
happening again.
and
Like,
this
it's,
song is about murder.
and
on
it's
top
about
of
the
that.
Starks, like the Stark line ending, because like
Yeah.
that was the plan.
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's like doubly fitting when you think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Filmed
dude.
fucking beautifully.
All right, so I think we can wrap this up. If you guys want to ask me any more questions about Game of Thrones, you can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.
All of them.
Yeah.
But for Star Wars questions in general, I think we wrapped it up. I think it's the last one was good. The fucking one before that sucked balls. The one before that was okay.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate.
I think they did a good job considering how bad episode 8 was.
Yeah, I had to count it up.
I had to think about that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? You have any closing remarks about Star Wars or Thrones or anything?
Disney wants too much money. Just watch The Mandalorian
Yeah.
and Rogue
Mandalorian's
One
solid.
and Rogue One.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking! You want to know a connection? You know who plays the Mandalorian?
Oh, fucking yeah.
Fucking
Oberyn.
Oberyn Martell.
Prince
from
Oberyn.
Game of Thrones.
Prince Oberyn, who might be my favorite fucking character
Yeah.
in all affairs. I fucking
Yeah.
love Prince Oberyn. All right, cool. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We'll
Yep.
talk to you guys soon. We appreciate it.
This
Love
is the
you.
way.
This is the way.
This
the
is the
Force
way.
is with me. I am with the Force.
No, it's not. Get out of here.
I have
Thanks.
spoken.